There's a chill in the air. Ooh. We need a hot meal because it's cold outside. Today on Let's Cook. Hi, welcome to Let's Cook, and it's cold outside. So we're making a menu today that is just good for cold weather. It's good for when there's a chill in the air. We're making a tomato leek tart. Then we're doing a pureed garlic soup with cheese croutons. Then, to top it on my favorite, an open-faced pork sandwich with French fries and gravy. Let's get started on our tomato leek tart. Now, to make the tomato leek tart, first thing I'm going to do is I have a nice tart dish here. I'm just going to take the tart dish and spray it with oil, vegetable oil, easiest way, and then we'll just take a little bit of flour in there and just shake it around to make sure it's well coated. Now, in this recipe, it's kind of funny because I'm actually using Bisquick. And, I'm using it because everybody uses it or has used it. And maybe if you haven't used it in a while, you want to try it because this is a very simple tart to use it with. So we have our pan ready. Next thing we're going to do is we're just going to make our batter. To make the batter, I'm simply going to take my Bisquick, about 1.5 cups, a cup of cream. We'll take 2 eggs. Okay, we need a little bit of salt in here, a little bit of pepper. I also I'm going to add some cheese to this now too, Pecorino Romano cheese. Get that out of the way. Now, to this now, I'm just going to mix this up, but I'll just mix it now. Isn't this cool? This is a kind of whip that's kind of meant for if you're doing sugar, but if you're whipping something and you want to whip it, it's got solids in it, which this will have. This way they don't get stuck in the tine. So we'll just mix our batter together here. Looks good. Then to this now, I have a little bit of melted butter I'm going to put in there as well. Oh. Now, additionally, now I'm going to add some herbs to this. Then some leeks that I blanched. So all I did with the leeks was blanch and slice them. See, it doesn't stick to it. I love it. It's so good. There we are. Great. Then I just need to get my tomatoes ready to go in this, and I'm going to show you how I cut the tomatoes. When we go to cut the tomato, we're simply going to take our tomato. Make sure you wash it. You're going to cut it this way, not going all the way through. You see how I take my knife and I go this way? I don't cut it, go through this way. Then I turn it this way, go this way. Then we're just going to take this tomato and dice it. That way we have nice little diced pieces. And by the way, with this recipe, you could also use just a canned tomato too. That will work in this just as easily too. So I have this right here. Mix the tomato in there well. Now it's good to go. So I'm going to use a rubber spatula to put this in here because the rubber spatula just works much easier to get it all out. And this is one of the only times I use a rubber spatula. I don't use it when it's cooking unless it's one of those spatulas that's made to be exposed to heat. So we just take our batter, put it right in the prepared pan here, and porcelain is a good pan to make it in because it browns very well. We pop this in a 350-degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes until it's golden brown. And this is what it looks like, out of this world. So simple, so easy. Thank you for cold weather because I like the winter, but I also want to thank you for Bisquick. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back for our pureed garlic soup with cheese croutons. It's cold outside. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook because it's cold outside, so now we're going to make our pureed garlic soup with cheese croutons. Now, to make. This is such an easy soup, and it freezes well. It's very healthy. It's got garlic, it has potatoes, it's good for you, and it's simple. So to make this soup, all I'm going to do is very simply take garlic, put it in a pot, as much garlic as you like. We're not going to cook this too long, so I'm not going to even saute the garlic. It can go in whole. Along with the garlic, I put my onions right in there. Along with my onions, I put my potatoes. Now these are white potatoes, and I left the skin on them. Just wash them very well. Very simple, easy, and healthy. Put in my bay leaves. A little bit of thyme in there. Then I just use a little bit of vegetable stock or chicken stock. Put this on the heat. We bring this up to a boil. You let this simmer covered until everything is tender. It takes about, with the size of the potatoes, the garlic, takes about 20 minutes. When it's done, this is what it looks like right here. I already have one done right here. So you can see everything gets nice and soft. Well, the only thing we have to do now is we'll remove the bay leaf. Be careful when you're doing that. You know, that's hot. You could burn yourself. And I have a sprig of thyme here. I'm going to go ahead and take that sprig of thyme out. This one, too. Now I'm ready to puree it. And I serve this with a or a cheese crouton, not a garlic cheese crouton. You know, and garlic is so good for you. So healthy. It's good for your cholesterol. Out of this world. So now I just take my little immersion blender, we call this, put it into the soup, and I puree it. There we go. So we're just going to puree the soup. You have to start, you know, if you're ever working with one of these, you know you have to be careful to not have it operating when you pick it up, because it can really splash you. There we go. We're good to go here. Doesn't this look great? Kind of reminds me of a potato leek soup, but it's more of a garlic potato soup. But it's more garlic than potato. Out of this world. Very great for cold weather. By the way, you do need to season this with salt and pepper too, which I did not do in the initial soup. So I'm telling you that now. I don't want you to think I forgot. Okay? There we go. See how beautiful that is. Oh. We'll remove our noisemaker now. We'll go ahead and we'll taste the soup. One, 2 and a half. Very small one. There we are. Now our soup is ready to go. Needed just that little bit of salt. Take this. We'll serve this up right here. Now, there's two things you can do with this. One, you could serve the soup like this. If you want to make it a complete meal, poach an egg. Put an egg in there while it's still loose. Or just finish it with these lovely cheese croutons. And what I did with the cheese croutons is I took them, buttered them, toasted them, and then I put them back under the broiler with the cheese just to melt them. So you get that wonderful flavor. Finish this with a little bit of parsley. You know, for any of these recipes, you can always go to our website, World Wide Web, cn8.tv. Go to Let's Cook with Paul Dillon, and you can search all the recipes. We're going to take a little break. It's cold outside, and we have to come back and make our open-faced pork sandwich with French fries and gravy. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where it's cold outside. So, this reminds me of when I was in high school, when I was a young child, an open-faced roast pork sandwich with French fries and gravy. Out of this world. So that's what we're going to make right now. So the first thing we have to do is I'll show you how you can make the pork loin. I have a beautiful pork loin right here. And what I'm going to do with the pork loin here is I'm just going to take it and I'm going to make a few slits here in the top. Maybe about 4 slits. Then I'm going to take a couple of cloves of garlic. And I'm just going to cut them in half and insert them right into the pork loin. So right in it goes, in it goes. We'll just insert those right in there. And that's just, it's a nice thing to do for pork. Give it a little garlic. Garlic, I love garlic. So we'll get our garlic in here. One more, I didn't cut that very well, did I? There we are. Good. Got the garlic in there. Then we heat up our pan. Put a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan. It's a pan we're going to use to sear it. Good idea when you're roasting to sear things. A little bit of salt and pepper on our pork loin here. Do it on both sides. You know, if you don't season things on both sides, it's kind of like changing the oil in your car, but not doing the filter. Just doesn't work. So we season this, then I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop this in this pan and just let this start to brown up. We're going to get that very nicely seared. Now, while that's searing, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to cut some French fries, get my French fries going. So, just going to take my potato right here, and I'll use I'm going to use a mandolin for this, but I'll also show you how to do it by hand. So we just take our mandolin here, and because this is nice, because it cuts a beautiful julienne cut. See how nice and julienne these fries are, because I want very thin fries. But not everybody there has a mandolin at home. So if you don't have a mandolin, there's a way to do this with a knife too. It's just called cutting a julienne. Take your potato. Now, if the potato is round, cut it so that it's flat and can't wobble. Then you're going to take your knife to cut down. You'll pull it through this way. Cut it so that you're, about 1/8 of an inch thick. Then you take that 1/8 of an inch cut, you stack that up. Then with your knife, you're just going to cut this down. Now, these French fries that I'm making right now, I'm not going to go ahead and blanch these and cook them a second time. I'm going to cook them one time. But I did have them in very cold water. So let me just take these right now, drop these into the oil there, let them start to cook up. Here we go. I put in too many French fries. My oil came over the pan here a little bit. I'm not going to add any more oil into there. I'm just going to let these start to brown up. I think I have enough potatoes in there. Things happen. Come over here, we'll turn our pork loin over. We're going to brown the pork loin. Now, while this side is browning here, I'm also going to take and add some onions to this, because we need to brown those onions too. Smells good, doesn't it? There we go. Get this oil up here. Let that start to brown up. Have a roasting pan here. I'm using a porcelain one for this. We'll take our pork, set this up right in here. Come over here. Going to brown the onions here. See how the onions are browning? They're picking up all the flavor of the pork right here. Doesn't that look great? Good. I don't need to give them a lot of color, because now I just take these and I'm just going to put them right around the pork here. We're going to pop this in the oven, but I already have one done right here. Beautiful. Oh, hot, 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 hot. See how gorgeous this looks? Doesn't that look fantastic? So now, for this, I'm just going to take my pork loin here, take this out. I'm going to let this rest right there. Then, get this pan out of the way here. French fries are almost done there. Put this pan on, because I'm going to use this to make my gravy. So I just take the juices that came out of the pork, and by the way, while it was roasting, I put about a ladle or two of pork stock or chicken stock in there just to baste it with, and so that I would get a nice sauce here, because there's not a lot of, I'm not cooking it at such a high temperature where I'm going to get a lot of juices out of there. I then take this, I bring this up to a simmer. I'm going to use a little cornstarch slurry right here. And we're just going to thicken this ever so slightly. So here, Just add a little cornstarch to this, and this is going to be our gravy. But we also have to cook the gravy off as well. So I'm going to let that simmer for a little bit. I'm going to get my French fries out. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how you put this whole sandwich together. Don't go anywhere. It's cold outside today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, and it's cold outside. Now, in the last segment, I was making some French fries, and while I was making those French fries, I put the French fries in. It wasn't that many French fries, but my oil came over. So I have some more cooking in here. And I actually, I'm surprised, because my potatoes weren't wet. They weren't in water when I took them out. But I guess they contained enough water that it came over. See my pan here, whenever you're frying something, first of all, the oil should be right around 350 to 375, and it's only halfway up the pot here. So I was very surprised when it went over. So I'll just show you that you don't really... you just need to be careful when that happens. And if it does happen, you should immediately remove the heat. Just shut it off. Don't ever try and pick up. If you'll notice, when that happened, I never tried to pick up the pot and take it away, because of hot oil. If you're moving around the kitchen with hot oil, it's extremely dangerous. So you just don't want to do that. Let me get a few more fries here. Now I can go ahead and start to plate up my roast pork. First, I have some nice toasted French bread here. Now I'm just going to take the pork, and we're going to slice this. So, just going to take nice thin slices of the pork here. You see the garlic in there? Looks great, doesn't it? Just nice thin slices of the pork here. This is my favorite. Now, to make this now, I'm going to take a little bit of my gravy with the onions, just a little bit, just on top of the bread, because it's toasted well. Then, take our pork right here. Looks good, doesn't it? This is definitely a cold weather meal. A few slices of pork here. A little bit more gravy, just on top of the pork. A few French fries right here. I'm really hungry. It's really cold outside. A few more slices of the pork right here on top of the fries. Few more French fries right here. Then a little bit more gravy on top of this. This is really working for me here. Then, of course, we're in New Jersey. A little bit of cheese just on top. So just hot enough to melt the cheese. Let me see. We have 2 minutes left in the show. Let me get this under the broiler here just for a second. Okay, so that can melt. There we go. Let that melt. And while that's going on, I'm just going to taste a little bit of this pork right here with the gravy, with the sauce. It's so easy. With a French fry. Out of this world. That's why I like cold weather. Because when it gets cold outside, you can make foods that just warm your heart. Whether it be the pork sandwich we just made, or the wonderful tart that we made right here, the tomato leek tart, or you want to get healthy, not necessarily wise, you can do a little bit of pureed garlic soup with cheese croutons. We have under a minute left. Let's take a look at our sandwich here. And I think the piece de resistance for when it's cold outside would be this open-faced pork sandwich with French fries and gravy. Oh, I gotta try this. Out of this world. Thank you so much for watching Let's Cook. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, it's just fun. That's what it means. It's always a